Two-man game, TMG, get the news fast, AMG, game of two boxes. Name two boxers that hit as hard as this. Yeah, we're cutting to the truth, no, there ain't no narrative. Eyes up on the cup this year, hear the stadium erupt this year. For my team, TMG.
A new episode of the TMG Podcast.
31, going strong.
31.
Shout out New Stars for the vocals every time. You know,
shout out, man. Lovely vocals, man.
You know what I mean?
Woo. I'll rap like that one day.
31, you know, damn.
It's been a while, man.
It's almost a third to 100.
Stoppages, you know, starting a podcast during the pandemic and all of that. It's been a lot of challenges, isn't it? To even get here. And we meet up live, man. No Zooming for you people, fam. Every week.
We ain't no pandemic P, though.
We're not pandemic P. Pandemic M.
Pandemic M, pandemic JA.
No way, dog.
Pandemic, and it's pandemic JA for the win.
I come like LeBron in the bubble, fam. This is me in this pandemic, fam. I'm LeBron.
You know who you coming out in the bubble?
No. Don't be saying that. Don't say anything dubious in this.
Coming like Jamal Murray.
Yeah, that's me, Carl. You know it.
Look at him now. He's my guy. When the players come around,
if you see what Jamal Murray's been doing since the beginning of this season, fam, he had an early blip early on, but him and Jokic, fam, the numbers they're putting up is just ungodly, fam. That's the best combo in the league at the moment. I would probably say on the offensive end of the ball.
Big shout. Can't cap, big shout. Best duo in the league right now. I mean, obviously AD, LeBron are out. KD Kyrie or KD Harden or Harden Kyrie.
They're just not been really there.
They're not present. You know, best abilities, availability. Tatum and what's his name, Brown, they ain't doing much at all. Actually, CP3 and Booker, they're doing stuff.
I think it's more likely that. What's more likely to you, actually? Let me ask you this question. Phoenix go out in the first round or Phoenix win the conference?
Oh, we've got out in the first round.
Yeah, see? So that tells you all it is. They're second seeds. And you know it's more likely for them to go out in the first round.
Same with Jazz as well.
You know what my issue with the Suns is like, I don't think they can find an extra gear. You know the way CP3 plays, and I see him in the playoffs, like, they're always faltering the players because I think he maximizes their potential throughout the whole season. Like, CP3 is not a man that like takes time off in a regular season. Like, he's playing at the same constant level. So when he gets to the playoffs, there's no extra gear. Like, you know, LeBron, he paces himself. He's pacing this. Been there for so long. He knows what it is. He doesn't need to go too hard in the regular season because he knows what the playoffs is all about. Whereas CP3 has never really, he doesn't want anything in the playoffs. Aside from that year with the Rockets, he's been, these other years, been failures. Like, remember when the Clippers had the 3-1 lead against the Rockets? Choked it.
Choke jobs. Speaking of choke jobs, who's another guy that's given up a 3-1 lead that we're going to discuss today?
I don't know.
That's recently come back from injury.
Oh, Mr. Kawhi. KD. KD, yeah.
The Slim Reaper.
KD gave up a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, we'll talk about him and Mr. Rappaport. I mean, what was your outtake? Like, what was your analysis from that debacle, from that episode?
I didn't rate both of them, but I didn't rate it at all. KD is very thin-skinned. I don't know why he really even had to reply to Rappaport. I think Rappaport tagged him, didn't he? He actually tagged him. So, okay, I can see that, but you're KD, bro. You don't need to engage in. You don't even need to reply to Michael Rappaport. Like, you're the famous party in this. You don't need to stoop down to the less famous parties like level. Then Michael Rappaport, for you to expose those DMs is, fam, you're a comedian, bro. You've been about this. You've been dealing with trolls. You're doing this. Unwanted intention, just making a big deal out of nothing. What did you think was going to happen when you exposed it? You think everyone's going to rate you? Like, people just don't really care because it's KD. Like, people are not taking KD these threats, like, for real. Like KD saying he's going to meet you, like, on a street, like meeting you on Lewisham High Street. Like, are you really scared? It's KD, like, that's not even a real threat, man. Like, it's never going to happen.
KD said, meet me around the corner.
Meet me around the corner, fam. Tell me when you're in these ends. I pull up, fam. KD could get banged, you know. He's slim. He's not going to cause any issue.
He's slim, but still like 200 pounds.
All it is talk, fam. That's what it is for all of them. That's KD on the internet. It's just talk. Thin-skinned. That's what I really realised from the issue, from KD's side.
I mean, for me, like I always say, KD is skilled and talented as he is. Arguably the most talented scorer of all time. Arguably, you can make an argument with the most talented player all round of all time. You know, basically 7 foot with the skills of a guard, put up from 30, as Stephen A likes to say. I mean, the jumpers stay wet. But I don't know, just that stuff that is between the ears, the intangibles, the leadership skills, the mental acuity, the mental attributes. It just seems to be lacking. I mean, these sort of episodes and sagas, this points leads you to more to that direction of why he's lacking. There's more evidence of that. I mean, you should know, as a guy, KD, you should know that, you know, most guys in the American rap sphere, they know who Michael Rappaport is and they know what he's about. Like, they know he's a troll. And especially we've had arguments or conversation with him before. You know that's what he's about. He's a troll. He likes to pull at people's strings, you know, to get a response. I mean, he's a fading star of actor, comedian, and what else is he? TV star. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you should know that these are the super fan as well. You should know these are the sort of things he does.
He's a New York Knicks super fan.
He's a New York guy. Like, he needs to get attention. This will help him to get ratings, I mean, in his own sphere. Not to get ratings from general people, but just to get... just to be traction. That's what it is. People just to be talking about him, that sort of thing. And you know, even though for people like me and you and the most general public, we won't rate it, but in his field, that might get him another, you know, spin-off TV series or whatever, or partner for something else, or a comedian gig. You know what I mean. So, I mean, he was losing a lot of attention. This has helped to, you know, re-energize his being. But KD, you just got to be better. I mean, obviously KD's come back from injury, but before then, you know, you haven't been on the floor for a while. You're in the news for stuff off the basketball court and not for stuff that are positive. You know, you got fined $50,000 by the NBA.
For the debacle. I guess there's a precedent for that because I think when Kobe said the homophobic slur, he got fined the same one. I think Iverson's been involved in that. So that's a standard fine, like standard $50,000. You know, but I was going to say that although KD's involved in this, when has these incidents ever affected his play though?
When you gave him a 3-1 lead.
That had nothing to... No one was saying... I don't think Twitter was that... Would you say Twitter back in 2015 is to the same victory or is it the same attention as it is now?
Obviously it's growing, but it was still...
And I guess even with the pandemic, it's even taken on a little bit more influence.
And for people of a certain age group, like the millennials, Twitter was still, in my opinion, the preeminent social medium at the time. Obviously not as much as it is now, but that's only, you know, time and how time has passed. People got more into it, especially, you know, especially the lockdowns and stuff. Social media's, in my opinion, taken another step forward because people are just at home consistently. I mean, no, he hasn't affected his game. Like, there's no like linear correlation to say, it's affected his game. But for me, it just points to the gap in his game more. Like, it's more evidence why I keep saying this stuff. The intangibles, the leadership skills, he doesn't seem to have.
It's so funny. I was rewatching The Last Dance, and you know, quite interesting. And it's like the same thing. Jordan had that little thing where he would just make up scenarios or situations just to keep him going, just to make him feel that type of way. You know, maybe that's what fools KD. Like, KD maybe can't just... He says he just wants to be a hooper, but I think these situations, him getting involved in like he's beefing like American rappers like Cash Doll. I was like, what are you doing? You don't even need to respond to that, but like, maybe that's what keeps him going. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just a Twitter guy.
Maybe he is.
Maybe he's just a Twitter guy. That's what it is. Like, he's just a normal Twitter guy like us that plays basketball.
I mean, The Last Dance came out last April, innit? But we need to do our review on that. We'll start that soon. I mean, maybe he is. I mean, maybe that's what keeps him going, if fuels him. But for me, like I said before, and I say again, it just points to what he's lacking in terms of the intangibles. And, you know, he's getting heat for only winning in teams that are super duper, where the deck is so stacked. I mean, like, for example, he got heat for joining Golden State. You know, they beat him 3-1. No, they came back from 3-1 down to beat him, to knock him out the playoffs and stop him going to the finals. So he joined a team that had won a championship the year before. They were winning a Whisker winning championship again. A team that was really established. He put them over the top, and everyone could see that, and that's what happened. And he gets heat for that. And now he's getting heat for this team he's constructed right now. Him, Kyrie, Harden, and now you got LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin. You know, I think they got like 41 All-Stars.
Yeah, 41
appearances altogether.
Something like a certain amount of All-NBAs as well. It's quite It's quite interesting. But I don't think those buyout signings are as helpful as you think.
Yeah.
I don't think they need, like, KD's back, man. And what is you're filling up? You're just looking for one more person to fill up the 5th spot. Because if you look at the lineup, what you're gonna have, Kyrie, point, or shooting guard. Well, you're just gonna have guards of Kyrie and Harden. The thing is, KD probably play power forwards in the small ball lineup. Then they got what's his name now?
LaMarcus.
No. There's the white Donny that can shoot. John, is it Allen? No.
Harris.
Joe Harris will play small forwards. Now you just need someone to fill up the 5th spot. It's going to depend on matchups. It might be one night. It might be Jeff Green. One might be Aldridge. It might be Bruce Brown. They have a new centre. What's the
Claxton?
Claxton. Claxton is good. It's been good recently, and the buyout guys might have like stunted that growth because Claxton was giving up good minutes defensively and all of that. And when you have so much offense, you might just need someone defensively that's good. Like I saw Drummond, he really bullied Aldridge down low there. I just forgot how bad Aldridge has been defensively in recent years. So
people say he's a shot blocker.
He is a shot blocker, but in the post, there's not much he can do, fam. But the thing is with the Nets, I'm not really worried about them. They're obviously the preeminent team in the East. The only issue they can run into, really, is the Bucks and the 76ers. They're the only 2 teams that can really stop them.
You've got Blake Griffin as well, can take minutes at the 5.
Blake can take minutes at the 5, but it's all about matchups, isn't it? When you play Embiid, who's going to take that minute at the 5? Who's going to be the 5th man on the floor?
When you play Embiid, I reckon DeAndre Jordan will get a lot of game time. He should do.
He's out of rotation at the moment.
When they play Embiid, he has to be in the rotation because he's the best defender of all the bigs.
He's the biggest. And the
biggest body. So you can use up all your 6 fouls you have to, and then
that's what they'll probably do, just use the 6 fouls.
And then I think Claxton's too skinny.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, he's got the size in terms of like maybe not the height per se, but he's like 6'10". He's got the strength, but he's not really a defensive guy like that. Let's see what he can do in the post. LaMarcus Aldridge, if Drummond can do that to you in the post, you don't even want to know what MB 285 pound of African muscle is gonna do to you. You know what I mean? The guy boy from Cameroon, shout out Francis Ngannou. Them guys should link up. You know what I mean? But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, just on paper, the team sounds mad. Like what, 41 All-Star appearances. There are 5 guys with at least 5 All-Star appearances.
You have to remember half of the Dons with those All-Star appearances and all NBAs. They're washed. They are buyout guys for a reason.
Blake Griffin's not obviously the player he was, and LaMarcus Aldridge obviously the player he was.
DeAndre Jordan, what is he?
DeAndre Jordan as well. He's a shadow of himself. But like Joe said a few episodes ago, like it's the IQ, the know-how, the experience they can bring to the team. And when those guys are not necessarily playing the star role they used to play before, ask them to play a role player role, they're playing roles they're overqualified for.
That's true.
So they'll be able to add more value in just being overqualified for that role. And so just the overall power they can bring to a team will be immense, on paper at least. But for me, the main thing about them is not even just the All-Stars and the players they have. My main issue with them potentially is the lack of chemistry, the lack of togetherness, the reps they put together.
What's so funny about that is that, but like you say that about the Nets, but look at every other team in the East, aside from Miami, the chemistry is not the chemistry that I've seen in recent years has not always been great. Like Bucks have been knocked out in the conference finals and the conference semi-finals in the last 2 years, and normally it just comes down to they have nothing they can really do in the last couple of minutes. Like when it comes down to the crunch minutes, Giannis doesn't get his shot easily. Chris Middleton doesn't show me enough, and I'm just wondering how much impact Drew Holiday is going to have. As for the 76ers last year, they stunk.
That's because Simmons was injured.
Simmons was injured, but then the years before, when they've had Simmons and Embiid and they've been favoured, they even had a year where they had Butler. They just didn't do it.
They did lose to when they had Butler. I lost it, but then
the Raptors.
To be fair, on paper, it was game 7.
That team's better.
It was game 7 they lost, but the shot was crazy. Sure, I mean, but on paper, their team was better. You had Butler, Simmons.
They had Redick as well,
Embiid, and Harris. I mean, but to be honest, Harris is funny because when he plays under Doc, he plays towards an all-star type level. When any other time outside from when he's with Doc, he's just like a normal just above average player. But today, this is he's playing really well.
But the numbers haven't really changed. He just looks like he's playing. I guess Seth Curry will add a dimension. Shake Milton as well.
Yeah, but they got better coaching. from what's his name?
Doc.
Doc.
Well, I recall some. You were one of those that were saying that he's lost how many game sevens?
Yeah, Doc. He's not as good as the people make him out to, but he's better than that coach had before. What's his name? Brown.
Yeah. Brett Brown.
Brett Brown's. He's a nobody. I mean, Doc still has championship pedigree, even though.
But they had to. They had to ride with Brett Brown because of what he had to go through at the beginning with the process and all that. They had to give him trust because he had to come through that.
Like you leash, but they overrid they overrid his whatever they gave him. It was a bit too long. But what I would say, the chemistry speaking wise, I saw an interesting stat here, and this is how it goes. Notable big threes to win title in their first season in the last 30 years. So you have Klay Thompson, Durant, and Curry, Golden State Warriors, 2016, 2017.
A big four though.
Huh?
Missing Draymond.
Obviously, well, you couldn't say even a big five equal as well. But anyways, they played 57 games together. So they brought reps, brought chemistry. But their system was already set.
Big threes don't normally do well in the first year, from what I recall.
Yeah, but people put the Nets as NBA favourites this season. Then we go to next. We got Pierce, Garnett, and Allen. Season 2007-08 season, 65 games together.
How many game sevens did they go to? They went to
definitely at least 2.
Went to 2. They lost the game 7 against Atlanta. They beat Cleveland. Yeah, they took a lot of games. They played like 26 games to win the championship.
But they go over the line. But they had 65 games, 65 games worth of reps. Then you go back a bit further, roughly like 11 years or so, or 12 years rather. Rodman, Jordan, and Pippen. Games together, 62 games. And to be honest, they were already a championship team from
2 years ago. 2 years previous.
2 years previous. So they really. And Rodman's just a defender. He wasn't really going to take touches of the ball. Jordan and Pippen already had that chemistry going. So that's my main issue. Like, people underestimate chemistry. They just think, you put teams on together like fantasy, and it was called. There's the time when you just have too many players.
No, so I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast this week, and he was talking about that the modern NBA has changed so much that most teams play the same type of basketball. It's normally just now high pick and roll. It's the same sets. You got one ball dominant player, so it's easier for teams to blend together these years. That's why most teams, they can, like, even in the pandemic, deep how good Phoenix is with a whole new point guard. Like, the point guard is the soul of your team. Like, it's easy to change now in this type of NBA because everyone's playing the same kind of basketball. Yeah. If everyone's playing the same kind of basketball, then it's easier to mesh. And then, what's the most important thing? What's the thing that LeBron's been crying about? Shot creators. He's been saying that since 2016, 17, that season.
Yeah.
With Kevin Love, when he said, "Oh, we need more. This team's top heavy as what?" He was saying, yeah, and then he said he need more ball handlers, he need more creators. And when you have that many level of creators, it really does shape the floor. It changes the game. It's about sharing the ball. Obviously, that's the biggest issue with me. I'm just wondering, what happens if Harden goes off? Does Kyrie then want to beat the ball hog? Or what happens if KD's going off? But the thing is with KD, why this can work and why it's like, I don't see it as a problem. It's like, KD is a guy that doesn't need that many dribbles of the ball. He can score 30 off 12 shots.
Yeah, you can.
And he's so efficient. Like, he's a superstar role player, I would say.
Yes, that's what I've heard that saying before as well. And yeah, he is like he's an overqualified, grossly overqualified role player. In fact, that he's not really a leader per se. He's a superstar, and yeah, superstar role player is a good fit for him. I mean, like sorry, that's the wrong word. It's not superstar role player. It's a superstar weapon.
Yeah,
he's not the main driving force of a team, like the engine, but he's a weapon. A bit like how Kobe was before he won his 2 rings with the Lakers.
Yeah, because
like
with Shaq.
With Shaq, Shaq was the main guy. Kobe was a weapon, and as a weapon, there's 3 guys that tout for best weapon of all time. There's Kobe, there's KD, and there's also Kareem. Kareem was also a great weapon. They weren't necessarily the driving force of the team. Like back when we had Oscar was like the guy ball-handling, pushing things around, and then obviously Magic was to that mantle in the 80s. But Kareem, offensive weapon, it's a weapon in the team. He does certain roles, and he's amazing at they say he's got the unstoppable shot, the sky hook. He's got the leading points, 40,000 odds, or maybe 39,000. For a reason. So, and KD does fit that bidding wholeheartedly. So you know what I mean. So I do like that analysis.
Yeah, you got to give it to KD for being able to mesh into every team he's played with. Man played with Westbrook, which is one of the most ball dominant players. Still got his points. even won an MVP with it. Play with Steph and Clay. They had a already set system, won 73 games before. Came in, messed in right away. Probably the greatest team of our generation, that 2018. Is it 2017, 2018?
Yeah.
Golden State, they lost one game in the playoffs. So that's probably one of the greatest teams of our generation. You have to give it to them. No, it's 2017, 2018?
There was two. There's 2016, 2017, 2018. Yes, I think it was the team that only lost one game.
It's 2016, 2017. 2017, that's the best, probably one of the best teams of our generation. I put it right up there with the Spurs of 2012, 13.
I think it was 13, 14.
13, 14. I keep on getting the years wrong. 12, 13, they should have won.
It's a late one, you're tired.
So they should have won that one as well. 13, 14, that's probably the two best teams, like with ball movement and obviously moving into a different era. And then with team play, you just have to give it to KD, man. You have to give it to KD that he can just mess with anyone. But it's just a shame he's been injured for so long. He's turning the ball over quite a lot as well. On his return, I think it was like 6 turnovers, quite a lot.
Yeah, a bit rusty.
He's a bit rusty.
Yeah, hardened out, got his hand in the ball a bit more. I mean, KD obviously can fit seamlessly to every team. That's how him and LeBron differ. Like, obviously, when LeBron goes into a team, that's probably why LeBron in his first season they don't necessarily win. Apart from the Cleveland one, I think that was their best chance to win when he came back. Obviously, Love and Kyrie Irving were injured, but LeBron he basically blows everything up and rebuilds it in his image because he has to. I mean, LeBron doesn't play well in other systems. Yeah, if he can't mesh. It's my way or the highway because he's so dominant, so good at other things. He overlaps in so many different areas. Like, if you have a point guard, you have to be able to shoot or you have to be able to do other things because if you can't, you're going to become obsolete because LeBron's going to be basically handling the ball most of the time anyways. Unless you have an exceptional coach who can, get LeBron to play off the ball, hand the ball less. A guy big in the post, not really. You're going to have to be shooting out on a 3-point line or out wide to create space for LeBron to drive. I mean, that's why I say the curse of the gifted. He does so many things well. It takes a long time for people to adapt to what he can bring to the game and what he's going to do to your team. You know what I mean? So that's why.
The thing is, when actually LeBron went to Miami at the beginning, he didn't try to overhaul the team. He tried to just fit in with Wade and Bosh, and obviously it didn't work out because then LeBron couldn't shoot and stuff like that. And the game plan had really changed and he wasn't really the alpha. It took time for him to really mesh up in the Miami situation.
When you try to limit LeBron into a specific role, you don't really get the best of it because he does so many stuff. I mean, to be fair, in his own right, I think at times you can limit what he does a bit, but when you limit to that extent, he was trying to do in terms of pandering to and caring for Dwayne Wade, his overall production and ability to provide positive equity to the team just diminished because
that's what I don't understand. When for me, obviously AD is probably one of the best running mates because AD himself is not really an alpha.
Yeah,
he does. I think I kind of learned that when he was with the Pelicans. His team missed the playoffs way too much, and you're so good, you shouldn't really do that as a superstar. But when he was in the playoffs, less pressure, he performed, innit? He performed well.
Yeah, he's a weapon. He's another weapon.
He's a weapon, and obviously that helped LeBron because LeBron doesn't want to play with another alpha superstar. LeBron can't play with. That's why LeBron. I think he's very careful with how he picks his partners now. I see because he learned from playing with Kyrie. He doesn't want He doesn't want to play with another egotistical superstar.
Because they'll clash. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, KD, he's got alpha ability, but he's not alpha in practice.
Yeah.
And
Harden as well is very blasé.
Harden's similar. I mean, Kyrie is the alpha. Whether or not that's going to lead to positive outcomes overall for the Nets, we'll see. But Kyrie basically is the alpha. He's the one that's most outspoken, the one technically with the biggest ego, especially compared to his talent output. I mean, so we'll be very interested to see how that. That's what I always say. I won't be surprised if they don't come out of the East. I mean,
at the end of the day,
I'm not totally convinced.
Kyrie wins you one game. Harden wins you one game. KD wins you one game. Just need to win one other game. That's it.
Yeah, on paper it sounds great.
No, it happens. Because remember Kyrie faced the Bucks in that playoff season. They lost for one, but one of the games Kyrie just single-handedly willed those boys to win, and their man didn't have no chemistry. Just won a game, fam. And now you got Harden and KD.
On paper, it sounds phenomenal. I mean, but
okay, ride with the other teams and see how that looks.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm putting other teams to beat them in the East. I'm not going to bet that, but what I would say, it won't surprise me if they don't come out of the East. It weren't. I mean, there's not everyone thinks it's a foregone conclusion. On paper it is. But in reality, they got stuff to work out. I mean...
What's important is...
And I need to see them in adversity.
If they get the first seed, then it definitely works in their favour, because all they would do is only have to face one of the Bucks and 76ers.
True.
And then, well, obviously, you might face the Heat. And the Heat... Oladipo not getting max money, made the terrible decision, should have signed the max contract with the Pacers. Now the Heat are going to see him. He doesn't look good, hasn't put up good numbers.
He got injured against the Lakers, didn't he?
Yeah, hasn't put up good numbers, hasn't done it much. They're just trying to find their feet. Obviously, them white boys ain't balled out at all this season. Hero and Robinson.
Yeah, they're on the scouting report now. They're not under the radar. So
and as soon as the scouting report, it's kind of falling apart. They should have traded those boys.
When people scheme for you, you know what you're gonna do. You know your tendencies. It becomes harder to do what you do. I mean, it takes a while to adapt to. Survival of the fittest. I mean, if you are the fittest, then yeah, you'll be able to get out of that situation and adapt and be able to come back stronger. If not, you'll fall by the wayside.
Now the Celtics as well, they're kind of in a hole. They kind of just need a point guard. Kemba's really. They don't get easy shots in that team. Like, everyone has to make their own.
Well, Kemba's supposed to be the point guard.
He's lost his burst, that knee injury.
I mean, Kemba, he's not been the same.
He's not been the same this season, so that's a really big issue. They might end up trading him, and I can kind of see. I don't know what trade they probably will.
Yeah, but people are smart, they know. Or it depends if teams want to take.
Probably going to be Kemba for Porzingis.
It depends if teams want to take a bet on him. But smart teams, that he's not as performing to the levels he once was.